start like a super low end tier program. And if you do that, I bet you anything you can snatch a good percentage of those followers, right, to join your tribe. Hey, what's going on, guys? Jeff Koga here, and I want to talk about the biggest opportunity to make $100,000. And I wanted to create this video for anyone who is looking to make an additional income source, and or maybe currently have a business and or a job, and maybe are looking to add another 6 figures to the bottom line. All right, now why do I want to talk about this is because I had a conversation yesterday when I was at a wedding where one of the young cousins asked me, says, hey Jeff, I know you're in business and you do a lot of stuff in business, so if I have to make $100,000, what would I do? And I, jokingly answered, I'll say, man, I said, the easiest thing I think it would be is to do something in the space of social media and teach a lot of the older people and or run a lot of the older people's social media accounts, okay? And it dawned on me, the conversation was very short, like maybe like 10 minutes tops, okay? But I figure I do this because there might be other people out there that's interested in this particular topic. So how do you make $100,000, and what are some of the things that you can do? Well, I want to talk about that, okay? So what's going on, I think, in the not the real estate, but what I think that's going on in the internet space is it's all a cycle, right? Meaning high price points, low price points, right? So I started like in the internet marketing world back in 2008 when I went really deep into the internet space, right? This is right when the real estate market crashed. So I was trying to rediscover myself and try to find out how to make additional money. And the first product I launched, okay, it was based on going to a internet marketing conference by a gentleman named Armin Moore, right? And at that time, and he's still a big name, all right, and at that time when I went there, okay, the business model was really simple, which was called reverse ascension, okay? Or it wasn't called even reverse ascension. It was just basically start off high in your selling price point and then go down in terms of price, right? Meaning that you want to sell something that's anywhere from like anything above $1,000, and then from there, once they buy that, then go down in price points. So they say, hey, you want to start off as high as you can, like, hey, $1,000 minimum, but typically you want to do anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, and then if they buy that and or if they see that offer, then you have anchored your price. And then from there, when you give them a lower tier offer, they're going to be like, oh, okay, this seems like a great deal, because in their mind, the psychology of the actual client or the buyer's name, they already have that number in their mind of like $3,000 to $5,000, and then suddenly you hit them with a $500,000, whatever product or service that you're going to hit them with, they're going to be like, oh, okay, that's not a bad deal, okay? But what has happened in the last several years is that it's been the other way around, where people are coming in and doing it at a much lower amount and then coming up in price. All right, and now as I'm looking at the internet space world, okay, the higher price in the last 12 months has been coming back. Definitely has been coming back, okay? But I think we're definitely at a crossroad. All right, so why is this important to understand, and why is it important to understand what's going on in the marketplace is, one, you need always a way to stick out from your marketplace, right? Otherwise, you really become an echo in the marketplace, meaning that everyone else is saying the same old thing, and if you sound like the same old thing, then it's really hard to stick out. And it goes back to last week. I finished reading a book that I read years ago, and I like to reread books, especially the ones that had impact on me, which is Ready, Fire, Aim. All right, highly recommend individuals to read that book. because it brought back a lot of things that maybe I need to pivot and I need to change, because I'm seeing it in the quote-unquote internet publishing world, right, where you teach like coaching, teach like internet how to do stuff by selling like digital products, like a modular course, like, hey, you log in and you get to watch some training, and or you do like group coaching or whatever, right? I'm seeing it in there, which is information is being really, really commoditized right now, where people can get access to information. Why? Is because it's a lot easier to sell like ebooks, sell like membership sites, right? But when I first started, it was really, really hard. I'm telling you, man, is that my first product I launched was in the student loan default industry, because my brother was a portfolio manager for Department of Education, meaning like he's collecting on students who have defaulted on their student loan. And I said, hey, dude, I think this is a huge marketplace, so let's come out with a course. So we came out with a course called the Student Loan Blueprint. And this thing sold like hotcakes, all right? And we just literally had two funnels. I mean, not even two funnels, I'm sorry, one funnel, okay? Which was one, we would, and I still own the domain, I wish I still had it up, which is they would go to a website called freestudentloanstuff.com, and we would capture their email address, all right? And in exchange for that email address, our bribe that we would give them is literally an interview that I did with my brother. And the mystery and the reason why people opted in is because he was really afraid of like saying who he was, because he's working at a big company, and he didn't want people to know that he's doing this stuff, right? So because it's going to impact his bottom line, because the collection agency, depending on the dollar amount that they collect, they're actually getting commission, right? And we created this little interview thing where I interviewed him, and he talked about stuff that was happening in the student loan industry that he was really unhappy about, and we really talked about it, and we were just like really candid, and it was really like a transcript, like me asking him a question, rogue student loan collector answers, and it went back and forth. And at the end of that interview, it said, hey, if you want to learn how to do it, get this product called the Student Loan Blueprint, and we sold it for $47. Okay, and if they clicked on that link at the end of the interview, then guess what? They went to what they call a VSL, or video sales letter, to explain why they needed to learn these techniques. Techniques like, hey, don't give the collectors your financials first, because if you give your financials first, they know how much you're making, and they can see what your discretionary income is. So if they see what your discretionary income is, then they're not going to give you the best deal in terms of a repayment program, right? So those are really, really huge things, and it sold, okay? And we made a good chunk of money, all right? We could have probably made a lot more based on the things that we know now, okay? So that was it. And simultaneously, we started building out a blog called Student Loan Fundamentals. We don't own the domain, but at one point that domain was getting over like almost close to like over like 30,000 unique visitors a month. So that was a lot of people, okay? And a lot of the information that was on that stuff came from him, but also came from Department of Education's website. We just happened to take that information and put a little snippet of quote in there from it. Now, why am I telling you this? Is, again, if we knew that the marketplace needed it, so we came out and we did it. Now, currently right now, if I had to start over, and let's just say I didn't have my other businesses, and or if I didn't, what I would do is I would start off doing something doing some type of social media management and or social media consulting and or selling social media training. All right, now here's the reason why, okay, is that there's a handful of super like big internet marketers. I won't say the name, all right, but they're currently selling a lot of how to become a social media agency. All right, and I've been paying attention to it, and that particular person, we exchange emails and stuff like that, right? I've been emailing him for now, like I think a year and stuff like that, and I just give them updates on what I'm doing. They give me feedback and stuff like that, so I'm building relationships and stuff like that. But what's interesting is he's selling that product at a premium. He's selling it at about $1,000, and there's a lot of these 20-something-year-olds that are actually buying that, which is nothing wrong with it, because I'm a firm believer of education, okay, and that you should continuously educate, and I'm a firm believer that, hey, if you're not willing to buy, then you're most likely are never going to be able to sell. That's always been my philosophy. So looking at that, one, these people are willing to spend $1,000, but what they're not learning how to do is actually how to get clients. right? That's the missing key in their training component, right? So I'm in this group and I'm like monitoring what kind of conversations going on, right? Because I like to do this kind of stuff. Like I call it market analysis. Always like to keep a pulse on what's happening with the marketplace. And they're talking about like creating websites, creating a Facebook page, coming up with logos, right? Which is it important in business? Yeah, but it's not the number one important thing, right? The number one important thing is to actually get paid, right? With that kind of background and that context, my recommendation is to go out and sell to those people on how to get a client training and or how to get clients consulting. And I think that angle would be a super huge opportunity for someone to break in and start making a name for themselves, as well as if you can position the pricing, okay, where these 20-something-year-olds can actually afford it, okay? Right? And then from there, they pivoted to create an educational platform where they're teaching individuals how to create like digital products and create a YouTube channel and a brand behind it. Their vision, what they have, is to kind of create something like an educational platform. Like, with that being said, okay, if you're starting off and you need to make another 100,000, or you want to add another 100,000, is that I would personally, right, go after that particular influencer that's running these advertisements, because all of those people are seeing what they're getting hit with, right? They're getting hit with like, hey, become a social media agency, run a social media agency to make additional 100 grand, and go right behind them and drop the best content that you can drop, and then start like a super low end tier program. And if you do that, I bet you anything you can snatch a good percentage of those followers, right? To join your tribe, to become part of your tribe, and to create income really quickly. All right, now I'm saying that because I may actually physically do that. Once it starts heating up, then the market has to adjust. Like, if I had to make an additional 100 grand or something like that, I would probably go after those individuals first. Right? I would go after those people that have tremendous amount of followers but may not have an actual strategy behind how to monetize those individuals. All right? And I would start off with them and recruit them, and maybe even do work like pro bono style, right? Like I'm talking about like maybe even just free, not even pro bono. Yeah. So just do it so that way you can get a testimonial from them. Because once you get a testimonial, then you can use that to get other people. All right? And that's my recommendation for anyone that wants to start a social media marketing agency, is to definitely do that. And if you can do that, yes, I think you'll get clients. Now, what I will say is this, is that sometimes it is really difficult to break through to people that have those tremendous amount of followers. Okay, I will say that. Okay, it's not easy. All right, but if you have to spend energy on where to go after, and then the biggest return and leverage points, I would go after them. Now let's talk about the creative space people. All right, is these individuals, when you talk to them, you have to really be cognizant about the choices of words that you use. Do never ever use the word like feel, all right? Never use the word like, you know, like, I'm sorry, use the word like feel. Don't use the word like think, all right? And I'll even go to a point where under the creative, I would say, if you can get them to taste a little bit of like actual money, all right, then boom, they'll flip the switch. Use the right language from that industry, okay, and you may have to do some research, okay, and then from there, give it in a simplest way that they understand. Even though you understand, they may not understand. One other thing is that I want to leave with the final thought is, okay, is to understand economics, okay, understand the economics of a business. All right, understand the economics of a business and go after people that understand that economics. And I rest assure you, it'll be so much more easier to actually get clients if you want to do that angle. All right, and here's an example of this. Okay, one going after understanding economics plus understanding and going after business owners that understand their economics. Right? Okay, versus like yesterday, right? I was at a wedding, Okay, and if anyone has been to a wedding, right, you guys know this, right? They come and they, this one was a buffet style, right? And then they serve you food, okay? And when you eat the food, right, sometimes it's not like, I'm a big dude, so I like to eat a lot, so I was still really hungry, okay? But they were smart because after the food was after the dinner was done, okay, they brought on, okay, at 7 o'clock, and they said this right when it started. They said, hey, at 7 o'clock we're gonna have a hot dog guy come by, okay, and then from 7 to 9 they're gonna serve hot dogs, right? So meaning like, hey, if you're still hungry, you can go get some hot dogs. 7 o'clock comes around, right? I recorded a video, and I posted it earlier on here, so take a look on it, all right? And I'm waiting in line after I finished that video, and I'm ready to get some hot dogs. All right, and as I'm approaching this, right, I'm like a weird character, probably to most people, because I'm probably asking questions that other people don't want to ask. So I'm asking the guy that the hot dog stand says, dude, I said, hey man, how many hot dogs? No, what did I say? I said, dude, how many hot dogs are you gonna do? And he was just like 200. And I was like, 200? So I said, so you're going to do about 100 hot dogs in an hour? And he's like, yeah. And I was just like, and then he comes back and says, yeah, so that means I can do about 30, what did he say? I think he said 36. I think if you divide the numbers, it comes out to like 36 seconds a hot dog. All right, that's what he said. No, he said 42. I believe he said 42 seconds a hot dog. But for easy sake of math, let's just say it's 30 seconds a hot dog. And like, he literally rattled that number off to me. And then I looked at him, and I also recorded a video, all right? And I said, and I told him, I said, dude, I love a man. I said, I love a man that's a business owner that knows his number. And I looked at him, and I basically said, hey, are you the business? Later on, I asked him, said, are you the owner of this? And he was like, yeah. And which was obviously made sense because he knows the number of his little hot dog stand, right? That he knows that he's going to, in that 2 hours, he's going to do 200 hot dogs and how many actual seconds it takes to sell that hot dog. So for him to run his numbers on how much profit he's going to make in 2 hours, he's going to be like, oh, okay, cool. That's all I need to do. Right? So if you wanted to run social media, right, it's easy for you to approach that individual, right? Because that person knows the number. All right. And so that's what I mean by going after business owners that, one, know their numbers, and then also understanding the economics of the business and going after business owners that know their numbers as well. So that's what I got for you. I'm at the office now. I got to get in and get going. But I love y'all. Thank you for watching. This is Jeff Koga. And just remember, guys, nothing is ever game over until you stop and quit. All right. I'm signing off.